Ahoy, mateys! It be Talk Like a Pirate Day. To celebrate, we here at the RBML want to explore a few pirate-related items from our collections. I'm Dr. Kate Coker, so join me on my expedition of exploration. Yar! To start, here is the first edition of the Robert Louis Stevenson classic Treasure Island. First published serially as The Sea Cook, a story for boys, before being reprinted as a book in 1883, this novel would end up shaping much of our collective popular perception of pirates. Say that 3 times fast. From buried treasure to pet parrots. Before he founded his popular fried fish and chicken franchise, Long John Silver was a piratical ringleader who lied, cheated, and stole his way across 18th century Spanish America and back to England, while also acting as a great cook and dubious role model for the protagonist, young Jim Hawkins. Hey, sometimes the real buried treasure are the friendships we make along the way, right? One of the interesting parts of this first edition is this frontispiece of the map used by the characters in the novel, which makes you, the reader, part of the story as well. Now, what did real pirates actually do? We can get some idea from the laws that were passed to punish piratical activities. This is a copy of an act to amend certain acts relating to the crime of piracy, which was passed on July 17, 1837. It would become known as the Piracy Act of 1837. Queen Victoria had been on the throne of Great Britain for less than a month before this act was brought by Parliament. You'll note that the title of the document states Anno Primo Victoria Reginae, or the first year of Queen Victoria. Basically, this is a law updating other laws already on the books regarding the legal punishments for piratical crimes including theft, assault, and murder. This document helps shape the discourse of expected behavior for ships and seamen in international waters, with the definitions used here going on to be adapted for the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea in 1982 and the Merchant Shipping and Maritime Security Act of 1997. Queen Victoria was so identified with these legal dictates regarding punishing piracy that she even appears as the main antagonist of the 2012 children's film The Pirates, Band of Misfits. As you've probably guessed by now, the figure of the pirate has been utilized in popular culture pretty much from the beginning. In the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, when books were more expensive, you are more likely to encounter piratical figures in popular songs and plays. Scholars have identified dozens of plays in which pirates figured as both villains and heroes. This next example, from 1822, Thomas Dibdin's The Pirate, a Melodramatic Romance, illustrates this form of textual access. In 1821, Sir Walter Scott, who we remember today as the author of Ivanhoe and other classic novels, published a book called The Pirate. If you know your Scott, you'll recognize that this would have been a fat tale of daring do, love triangles, and melodrama, and in the common format of the time, it was published as a 3-volume or triple-decker set. As was also common at the time, playwrights would quickly adapt popular books for the stage, not unlike how books are adapted into movies today. This pamphlet, then, is the text of Dibdin's play for Scott's novel, essentially a tie-in edition that would have been cheaper to produce and to purchase. You'll note here that it states that it was performed at the Surrey Theatre, which makes it into a record of a performance as well as a kind of an advertisement for that venue. I want to show one more item before we're done. This is a copy of Daniel Defoe's The King of Pirates from 1720. You'll recall that Defoe is best known for writing Robinson Crusoe and many other popular adventure tales. Defoe often presents his novels as if they were historical documents or memoirs rather than fiction, and he does the same here. This is an epistolary novel, or a story made up of letters, written by the main character, Captain John Avery. Avery is very loosely based on the real-life pirate Henry Every, who is a famous and feared pirate of the latter 17th century. Now here's another interesting tidbit. Daniel Defoe may or may not have actually written this novel. Scholars have been debating this for years. Defoe was a very popular author, and some publishers, either innocently or nefariously, would attribute works to him that we aren't quite sure today if they were his or not. The presentation of the text and its subject matter are very much in the vein of what he was known for, which almost makes for a better case that was incorrectly attributed to him. So, a bum book by a famous writer, or a piratical billing to sell more copies? What do you think? Alright, book lovers, I hope you've enjoyed this brief exploration of beauties from our collections. If you have questions about these or any of the other items in our collections, feel free to send us a line at askacurator@illinois.edu. Have a great day and don't partake of too much grog out there.